My name is Elena Moore, 34 years old. For the last 2 years, I had quietly paid my brother's rent while the rest of my family happily pretended he was the one helping me. It was one of those lies that everyone benefits from as long as no one says it out loud. I paid. He took the credit. They avoided discomfort. That afternoon, at the family picnic, I had already promised myself something. One more disrespectful joke, and I'm done. I just didn't expect that joke to come with an audience. The picnic shelter outside Franklin, Tennessee was packed. Folding tables sagged under aluminum trays of food. Kids ran barefoot through the grass. Someone's Bluetooth speaker played old pop songs that kept cutting out whenever a new notification buzzed in. It was loud, chaotic, familiar. And dangerous, because familiarity makes people careless. My brother stood up without warning. Ryan Moore, older than me by 3 years, holding a red plastic cup like a microphone. He tapped it with a fork until the noise cut through the chatter. "All right, everybody," he said, grinning wide. "I just want to make a quick toast." People turned. Smiles formed. Phones came out. "To the one who always shows up," Ryan continued. "Broke, desperate, and still trying to matter." Laughter rippled outward like a bad echo. My parents laughed first. A couple of cousins followed. Someone even whistled. Ryan's eyes locked directly onto mine as he spoke, like this wasn't collateral damage, it was the point. For a split second, my mind flashed back to a text from the week before. "Asterisk rent's due again. Can you move some money?" I swear it's the last time, I remembered sitting on my couch, staring at my banking app, feeling less like a sister and more like an overdraft ATM with a pulse. Have you ever had a joke from your own family that felt less like a punchline and more like a blade pressed between your ribs? My face burned. But my hands were steady as I picked up my own cup. My voice came out calm. Almost too calm. "To the desperate one," I said, holding Ryan's gaze, who just lost access to the account paying his rent. The sound vanished. No laughter. No music. No fake coughing. The silence after my toast was sharper than anything he'd said. Ryan's smile froze mid-expression, like his face hadn't gotten the memo yet. My mother's laughter died instantly. My father stopped mid-chuckle, mouth still open, eyes darting. It felt like someone had hit mute on the entire family. "Before I tell you what happened next, and what came after I actually walked away and cut him off, tell me this, what time is it where you're watching from, and where are you listening? I want to see how far this story about money, boundaries, and family loyalty travels." The silence didn't just fall. It cracked. Ryan let out a forced laugh. "Very funny, Elena," he said, waving it off. "You've always been dramatic." My dad, Michael Moore, grabbed his cup like it was a life raft. Okay, he said too quickly. "Let's not make a big deal out of a joke. We're here to relax." But he wouldn't look at me. I didn't sit back down. I stood there, cup halfway raised, feeling that familiar pressure in my chest, the one that always showed up right before I gave in. The last time I felt it was a year earlier, when Ryan called me from his car, voice shaking, telling me he'd be homeless without my help. I'd been in a conference room in Denver, where I work as a senior data analyst. I stepped out, missed half a meeting, and wired him money I couldn't really afford. If I don't help him, I'd thought, what kind of sister am I, standing there now, under a picnic shelter full of witnesses? A different question hit me. If I keep helping like this, what kind of brother am I turning him into? "You really did it?" Ryan asked, dropping his voice. "You're kidding, right?" "No," I said. No explanation. No apology. "I'm done paying your rent." My mother, Janet, shifted uncomfortably. "Elena, not here," she whispered. "We don't need to discuss money in front of everyone." That's when Ryan's girlfriend finally spoke. "Ryan," she said quietly. Hearing his actual name, out loud, without my son or my boy attached to it, changed the air. Ryan Moore, older brother. Family favorite. Professional victim. You told me you were handling it, she whispered. He shot her a look sharp enough to cut. I am handling it, he snapped, then turned back to me. What is this? You punishing me over a joke? I didn't answer. I let the silence work for me. No frantic defense. No smoothing it over. Just a boundary, standing there between us. My dad cleared his throat. We'll talk about this later, he said. Ryan didn't mean anything by it. You know your brother. I looked at him and felt something settle into place. Yes, I said. I do know him. And that was exactly the problem. If we talk about it later, I added, setting my cup down, it'll just be another time we pretend this isn't happening. This is the conversation. Ryan scoffed. So embarrassing your own family makes you strong now? I think paying rent for a grown man with 2 hands and a working car for 2 years is long overdue to stop. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't have to. And that was the moment his girlfriend looked at him like she was seeing him for the first time. The picnic didn't end when the conversation did. It limped forward like a wounded thing, pretending nothing had happened while everyone felt it. Kids kept running. Someone turned the music back on, too loud, like noise could stitch the moment back together. My aunts argued over potato salad with forced enthusiasm. But every glance that flicked in my direction and then away told me the truth. Ryan's joke, and my response, had landed like a grenade in the middle of a happy family afternoon. I stayed just long enough to be polite. Long enough to prove I wasn't storming out in tears. Then I made an excuse about needing to get back to my hotel to finish a report for work. No one stopped me. That hurt more than if they had. The drive back blurred into headlights and highway signs. The kind of drive where your hands steer, but your mind replays every word on a loop. By the time I dropped my keys on the hotel dresser and sat on the edge of the bed, my phone was already buzzing. Family group chat notifications. Missed calls from my parents. And, of course, a string of messages from Ryan. I didn't open any of them at first. I took a long, hot shower and let the water wash away the smell of grilled food and fake laughter. I pulled on an oversized t-shirt, turned off the lamp, and lay back on the bed staring at the ceiling. Only then did I pick up my phone. It wasn't a text from Ryan that stopped me. It was a voice note. Somehow, that felt heavier. Texts can be skimmed. Voice notes have to be heard. I stared at the little audio bubble, thumb hovering, then pressed play. Elena, look, Ryan's voice came through low and strained. No charm. No performative humor. That was messed up, okay. But you can't just cut me off like that. I closed my eyes. The rent's due Monday. I've got, like, $80 in my account. If you don't send it, I'm screwed. This isn't about a joke. You know how hard it's been since the layoff. A pause. I'm not asking forever. Just this month. Please. Then, softer. More manipulative. You know I'd help you if it were the other way around. That was the line that made my jaw tighten. Because we both knew the truth. If our roles had ever been reversed, he would have sent "damn, that sucks" and maybe a sad emoji, not 2 years of rent. I opened my banking app without even thinking about it. Muscle memory. Habit. The account stared back at me. I named it RM Housing, as if labeling it made me generous instead of exhausted. Same amount. Same day. Every month. At first, it had been 3 months. Then another 3. Then just until I recover from this second layoff. Temporary had quietly mutated into indefinite. The app made it look clean. Reasonable. It didn't show the late nights I worked to keep my own bills covered. The promotions I nearly turned down because I felt guilty earning more than my struggling brother. My thumb hovered over transfer. The old reflex whispered, "Just one last time. Then you stop." But a new voice, shaky, angry, honest, whispered back, "You've said last time at least 6 times. Instead of tapping transfer, I hit manage automatic payments." I scroll. There it was. The recurring payment. His landlord's name. His address. I press cancel. A confirmation box popped up. "Are you sure you want to stop this recurring transfer?" It was the most accurate question my bank had ever asked me. I took a breath and tapped yes. "This recurring payment has been cancelled." One sentence. 2 years of unpaid emotional interest. I went back to Ryan's chat and recorded my own voice note. "Ryan," I said, keeping my tone calm. "I heard your message. I'm not sending the rent." My heart pounded so hard I almost paused between words. "I'm sorry you're struggling. But this setup isn't helping you. It's draining me. You're going to have to talk to your landlord, pick up more hours, work out a plan, whatever it takes. But I'm done being your backup income." I hesitated, then added one more thing. "If you want help making a budget, looking for work, or just talking through a real plan, I'll help with that. But not with money anymore." I sent it before I could back out. A small listening label appeared. No reply. Instead, a new notification slid down from an unknown number. "Hi, this is Paul Harris, Ryan Moore's landlord. He gave me this number as a backup. Just checking if the usual transfer is coming through this month." I stared at the screen. My stomach dropped, and then something sharp and bitter rose in its place. Ryan hadn't just depended on my money. He'd handed out my number like I was a billing department attached to his life. For a moment, the old instinct surged. Just send it. Avoid the embarrassment. Keep the peace. Then I saw him again, standing at the picnic, smirking, raising his cup while I quietly funded his life. I typed back. "Hi, Mr. Harris. No, there won't be a transfer from my account this month. Ryan will need to speak with you directly about payment options." I added nothing else. No apology. No explanation. Just a period. A full stop. For the first time, it hit me, if this choice cost me my brother, it would be because he valued my money more than our relationship. And that wasn't a relationship I could afford to keep buying. The fallout didn't wait. The next morning, my phone lit up before I'd even finished my coffee. 3 missed calls from my dad. 1 from my mom. When I opened the family group chat, it was already burning. "We need to talk about what happened yesterday." That was from my dad. "Please, both of you. Stop fighting in front of everyone." That was my mom. And then there was Ryan. A wall of messages accusing me of humiliating him, weaponizing money, and turning our parents against their own son. I didn't reply. Instead, I drove to my parents' house later that afternoon. Everyone had agreed we needed to clear the air. It felt less like a family conversation and more like walking into a courtroom. My dad stood by the kitchen counter, arms crossed, jaw tight. My mom hovered near the sink, wiping an already clean plate. Ryan sat at the table, knee bouncing under the wood. His girlfriend, Claire, sat beside him, eyes down, hands folded. "So," my dad began, not sitting. "Closing that account without warning. In the middle of a toast." That was low, Elena. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because the irony was unbearable. "The toast was low," I said. "Closing the account was overdue." Ryan leaned forward. "You could have talked to me," he snapped. "You didn't have to drag my business out in front of everyone." "Your business?" I corrected him. "It was my money. My account. My name on every transfer. You turned my generosity into your entitlement." For a moment, no one spoke. Then Claire looked up. "How long has she been paying your rent?" she asked quietly. Ryan stiffened. It's not like that. Answer her, I said. A year, he muttered. Maybe a little more. Why does it matter? My mom flinched. My dad's jaw tightened. Almost 2 years, I said. Since the first emergency. I repeated Ryan's words from the picnic, letting them hang in the air. Broke. Desperate. Still trying to matter. Funny how that sounds different when we're not pretending, isn't it? Ryan slammed his hand on the table. You're twisting everything, he shouted. You know I got laid off twice. You know rent's insane. You sit there with your big job and act like I'm lazy. You're not lazy, I said calmly. You're comfortable. There's a difference. That's when my dad snapped. Enough, he barked. This is getting out of hand. He turned to me. You can't just abandon your brother. Family helps family. Family doesn't humiliate the person keeping the lights on, I said. And family doesn't lie about where the money goes. I pulled out my phone and placed it on the table. A screenshot. Large cash withdrawals. Right after each rent transfer. You told me the money went straight to the landlord, I said. But you've been pulling most of it out in cash. Why? Ryan's face drained of color. That's none of your business, he muttered. Claire went still. Ryan, she said slowly. What cash? I had other things to cover, he snapped. Car payments. Credit cards. My dad's voice dropped. Are you gambling? The word hit the room like glass shattering. No, Ryan said too fast. It was answer enough. No one moved. No one reached for their coffee. The room felt suspended in midair. My mom stared into her mug like it might explain everything. My dad looked older than I'd ever seen him. Ryan stared at the table. Claire straightened. Did you use her money for bets? She asked. Not rent. Not bills. Bets. Ryan exhaled, shaky. Some of it, he admitted. I always meant to put it back. The odds were good. I thought I could flip it. And when you lost? I asked. He didn't answer. You dug deeper, I finished. He looked at me with something raw and desperate. You don't get to act like you've never messed up, he snapped. You think you're better than me because you handled your crap quietly. For a second, my mind flicked back to my early 20s. A cheap apartment. A thin mattress. Red numbers glowing on my laptop screen. Bad decisions. Panic. The difference was simple. No one bailed me out. I walked dogs before sunrise. Took extra shifts. Ate instant noodles for dinner. Slowly clawed my way out. Looking at Ryan now felt like staring into a distorted mirror. I don't think I'm better than you, I said. I think I had to learn early that no one was coming to save me. And somewhere along the line, I started saving you instead. Claire's voice broke. You told me it was temporary, she said. You never said she'd been paying your rent for almost 2 years while you gambled. I didn't gamble all of it, Ryan protested. You tried to fix your losses with her income, she said flatly. You put her future on the line. My mom finally spoke. We just wanted to help you through a rough patch, she said. You're our son. What were we supposed to do? Maybe let him hit the ground he was already falling toward, I replied gently. So he could push himself back up instead of using me as the floor. The room went quiet again. Not stunned. Not shocked. This was the silence of truth settling in. The word gambling hung in the kitchen long after it was spoken. No one rushed to fix it. No one tried to joke it away. Even the refrigerator's low hum felt too loud. My mom sat down slowly, both hands wrapped around her mug like it was the only solid thing left. My dad rubbed his face with both palms, then leaned against the counter, suddenly looking tired in a way I hadn't seen before. Ryan stared at the table, jaw clenched, like eye contact might shatter what little control he had left. Claire was the first to move. She turned fully toward him, shoulders back, voice steady enough to make him flinch. "Did you use her money for bets?" she asked. "Not rent. Not bills. Bets." Ryan swallowed. "Some of it," he said. "I always thought I could put it back." "And when you didn't?" she pressed. "I tried to win it back," he snapped. "I thought I could fix it." "You dug deeper," I said quietly. He shot me a look, half anger, half fear. "You don't get to sit there and act perfect," he said. "You've messed up too." He wasn't wrong. My mind flashed to my early 20s. A cheap apartment. A mattress on the floor. Credit card balances I avoided looking at. Panic that sat in my chest every night. The difference was simple. No one rescued me. I worked before sunrise. I took overtime. I ate noodles and skipped nights out. I paid it off inch by inch until breathing didn't hurt anymore. That realization didn't make me feel superior. It made me nauseous. "I don't think I'm better than you," I said. "I think I had to learn earlier that no one was coming to clean up my mess." Somewhere along the way, we switched roles, and I became the safety net. Claire let out a breath that sounded like it had been trapped for months. "You told me she offered," she said to him. "You said she believed in you." "I didn't lie," he insisted. "She did believe in me." "I believed in your ability to take responsibility," I said. "Not in funding your losses." Silence fell again. Then Ryan reached for Claire's hand. She pulled it back like it burned. "We can fix this," he said quickly, panic creeping into his voice. "I'll quit. I'll sell stuff. I'll get another job. We'll move somewhere cheaper. You don't have to leave." That hung in the air. My mom's eyes filled. My dad stared at the floor. Claire shook her head slowly. "You didn't just risk your future," she said. "You risked hers. You risked ours." He turned to me, desperation spilling over. "So what? Now I'm the villain," he said bitterly. "You get to be the strong sister, and I'm the screw-up everyone hates." "You're not a villain," I said. "You're someone who made bad choices and leaned on the easiest solution until it stopped being a solution and became a crutch." He laughed once, sharp and humorless. "You always did love therapy words." "Maybe," I said. "But answer this honestly. If I kept paying, this month, next month, the one after that, would you really change?" He didn't answer. That silence was louder than any excuse. Claire wiped her eyes. "I don't know if I can do this," she admitted. "I didn't sign up to carry secrets built on your sister's income." Ryan panicked. "Don't go," he pleaded. "I'll show you everything. I'll give you my phone. I'll prove it." "It's not one mistake," she said softly. "That's the problem." Watching them, I felt something old rise in me, the urge to soften it, to step in and say he's just scared, give him time. That was the part of me that had kept the rent flowing. But another part, the one that had cancelled the automatic payment and slept deeper than I had in months, held me still. "Ryan," I said carefully, "I don't want you to lose your relationship. I don't want you to lose your home. But I won't keep losing pieces of myself so you don't face consequences." I looked at my parents. "I love you," I added, and meant it. But love isn't lying, covering, or draining someone else's future. That's fear pretending to be loyalty. My dad spoke quietly. "We always said family love was unconditional." "I used to think that meant enduring anything," I said. "Now I think unconditional love still needs conditions, honesty, effort, respect. Without those, it's just duty." I turned back to Ryan. "I'm not withdrawing my love," I said. I'm withdrawing my money and my role in the lie. When you're ready to be honest and do the work, I'll help. But the days of me being your invisible rent fairy are over. Ryan's eyes filled, but whether it was grief or rage, I couldn't tell. So you'd rather watch me hit bottom? He asked. No, I said softly. I'm choosing the version of you that might exist on the other side of this. No one spoke after that. The line had been drawn. And it couldn't be uncrossed. The first thing that surprised me wasn't the guilt. It was the quiet. No late-night texts asking if I could spot him just this once. No sudden emergencies that somehow always landed 3 days before rent was due. No nervous checking of my banking app. For the first time in nearly 2 years, my money stayed where it was. So did my peace. Ryan moved out of the apartment a week later. I heard it through my mom, not him. She called me one evening, voice tight, like she was choosing every word carefully. He's staying with a friend for now, she said. Just until he figures things out. I pictured Ryan's pride swallowing the reality of couchsurfing. I felt the old instinct to intervene twitch in my chest. I didn't. And Claire? I asked. My mom exhaled. She packed some things and went to her sister's. That hurt more than I expected. Not because I blamed myself, but because I knew exactly how fragile relationships become when truth finally shows up. A few days later, Ryan finally texted me. You happy now? I stared at the message for a long time. Happiness wasn't the word. I typed, deleted, then typed again. I'm relieved, I sent. There's a difference. He didn't reply. Weeks passed. My parents adjusted in their own uneasy way. My mom stopped dropping hints about helping him financially. My dad stopped asking if I'd check in. The house felt different when I visited, less tense, more careful. One afternoon, my dad asked me to stay after dinner. I didn't handle this well, he admitted, eyes fixed on the table. I was so focused on keeping the family calm that I ignored what it was costing you. That apology mattered more than I'd expected. I didn't want to tear things apart, I said. I just couldn't keep pretending anymore. He nodded slowly. Sometimes pretending is what tears things apart. Ryan didn't resurface right away. When he did, it wasn't dramatic. He showed up at my apartment one Saturday morning, thinner, tired, holding a paper bag like a peace offering. I brought coffee, he said awkwardly. I stepped aside. He didn't sit right away. Just stood there, looking around, like he wasn't sure he belonged in my space anymore. I messed up, he said finally. More than I wanted to admit. I waited. I lost money, he continued. Not just yours. Credit cards. Loans. I'm trying to clean it up. Trying how? I asked. He swallowed. I got a second job. I sold my car. I'm talking to someone about the gambling. I studied his face. No excuses. No blame. Just exhaustion and something like humility. I'm not asking you to fix it, he added quickly. I just wanted you to know I see it now. That was new. I'm glad, I said. But seeing it isn't the same as finishing it. I know, he said quietly. We drank the coffee in silence. When he left, he didn't ask for money. That felt like progress. Later that night, I checked my account again, not out of anxiety, but out of habit. The balance hadn't moved. For the first time, it didn't feel selfish. It felt earned. Change didn't arrive with an apology tour. It arrived quietly, in small, unglamorous decisions that no one applauded. Ryan stopped calling late at night. He stopped asking questions that carried hidden expectations. When we spoke, it was about neutral things, work schedules, the weather, how our parents were doing. Months passed. That alone was new. One evening, my mom mentioned Ryan had moved into a studio apartment across town. It's tiny, she said, almost apologetically. But it's his. I pictured him in a space that didn't come with backup. A place where rent was his responsibility alone. I felt proud. And wary. Because I'd learned the difference between progress and promises. Ryan asked to meet me for lunch a week later. Not at a fancy place, just a diner halfway between our apartments. He looked healthier. Not happy exactly, but steadier. I wanted to tell you something, he said after we ordered. I'm 6 months clean. I blinked. Clean? No betting, he clarified. No apps. No, just for fun. I go to meetings twice a week. I still want to run sometimes. But I don't. That matters, I said carefully. I also started paying back what I owe, he added. Not much yet. But consistently. I nodded. Consistency beats intensity. He smiled faintly. You always did talk like a self-help book. And you always ignored the good chapters, I said. The smile faded. I don't expect forgiveness, he said. I just wanted you to know I'm not the same guy anymore. I believe that he wanted to be. That was different from being there already. Claire resurfaced not long after. She reached out to me first, something I hadn't expected. I should have seen it sooner, she said over coffee. But thank you for not protecting him from himself. I don't know if he'd have stopped otherwise. They weren't back together. Not yet. Trust, once cracked, doesn't snap back into place. My parents changed too, in their own slow way. They stopped asking me to mediate. Stopped softening Ryan's setbacks before sharing them. They let him explain himself. It wasn't punishment. It was respect. Then came the test. Ryan called me one night, voice tight but controlled. My hours got cut, he said. I can still cover rent this month. Next month might be rough. There it was. The old opening. I felt the reflex rise, to fix, to smooth, to step in. What's your plan? I asked instead. A pause. I'm picking up extra shifts. If that's not enough, I'll talk to my landlord. Maybe move if I have to. No ask. No hint. That sounds responsible, I said. He exhaled. I didn't call to ask you for money, he said quickly. I just didn't want to lie. That mattered more than he knew. After we hung up, I sat on my couch for a long time. This was what change looked like. Not grand gestures. But accountability without an audience. The anniversary of the picnic arrived quietly. No reminders. No dramatic flashbacks. Just a date on the calendar that used to carry weight, and now didn't. That, I realized, was its own kind of healing. We gathered again as a family, this time at my parents' house. Smaller. Simpler. No speeches. No performative jokes. Ryan arrived on time. That alone would have meant nothing to an outsider. To me, it meant everything. He hugged our mom, shook my dad's hand, then looked at me, really looked at me, before pulling me into a brief, careful embrace. Thank you for coming, he said. Not thank you for helping. Just thank you for being there. Dinner passed without tension. Conversation stayed light. No one tiptoed. No one overcompensated. At one point, Ryan mentioned his studio apartment. I finally hung something on the wall, he said, half smiling. Figured it was time to stop treating it like a temporary place. That sentence landed softly, but it landed. After dinner, while my parents cleared the table, Ryan and I stepped outside onto the porch. The evening air was cool. Quiet. I owe you money, he said suddenly. I raised an eyebrow. I know, he added quickly. And I'm paying it back. Slowly. I just wanted to say it out loud, without excuses. I nodded. That's all I ever wanted. He hesitated. I hated you for a while, he admitted. When you cut me off. It felt like betrayal. I know, I said. And then I realized, he continued, voice low, that what you actually took away was my ability to hide. I didn't respond right away. Because he was right. I don't need you to be proud of me, he said. I just didn't want you thinking I stayed the same. I don't, I replied. But I also don't need to monitor your progress. That's yours now. He smiled, a real one this time. Inside, my mom called us back. As I drove home later that night, I thought about everything I'd learned, not about money, but about boundaries. I believed for years that love meant endurance. That showing up meant sacrificing quietly. That if someone struggled long enough, it became my responsibility. I was wrong. Love isn't measured by how much you give away. It's measured by what you refuse to enable. Cutting Ryan off didn't make me heartless. It gave him a chance to become accountable. It gave my parents a chance to stop managing outcomes. And it gave me my life back. Some relationships don't survive boundaries. The ones worth keeping do.